All right, guys, we are here with David Pisarek, Chief Digital Aficionado with Wow Digital. Welcome to the show, David. Appreciate you being here.
Hi, Jenny. Hi, everybody.
David, can you real quickly, in just a couple sentences, can you describe how does Wow Digital support nonprofits?
We build fantastic digital experiences for nonprofits and charities and community based organizations, as well as create branding. So, if you're a new organization or you feel like you're kind of stuck, maybe in like the early 90s or a little bit earlier than that, we will help elevate your brand and take you to the next level.
Yeah, and I know one thing that you guys really specialize in is developing nonprofit websites that are great at converting people from just being kind of passive viewers of your website to actually actively engaging with your nonprofit. And so I'm excited to have you here today to talk a little bit more about how nonprofit websites can drive more donations. So, can you just start with the basics? Like, tell me, how can nonprofit leaders ensure their website is optimized to drive visitors to donate online?
A great point and a great question. So, what we want to do is we want to create an emotional connection with people. We want people to care. If they don't care about you, you're just another organization that's doing the same thing as a dozen other organizations in the same market, in the same space, in the same time. And you really need to figure out what your differentiator is, what your USP is, your unique sales proposition. And identifying that will allow you to create that bond and being able to speak to a specific reason why people should care about your organization. So for example, let's say you are a hospital and you're trying to raise money for, I don't know, COVID's, not that in the distant past, it's still here a little bit, right? You're trying to raise money so that you can buy ventilators for your hospital, right? Don't just say, hey, donate, right? What you want to do is make that call to action, a CTA, specifically tied to what it is that their money will be going towards. So donate, $200 buys, a tenth of a respirator. And being able to connect that, and people go, oh, I'm not just donating to some big cause, I'm actually donating to help. And here's how my money's actually really going to help.
Yeah, absolutely. And so how I know that the statistics here seem really slim. It's like less than 1% of times that people visit your website are they actually making a donation. So how do you get them from understanding like this is the cause, we're getting ventilators, to actually wanting to feel that emotional connection and wanting to support that cause?
So there's something called an interaction model. And the interaction model is the more interactions you have with people, the more connections and the more times you meet with people over time, the more familiar they become with your brand, the more they like and the more they trust you. So it's like the know, like, trust factor. And being able to get in front of people and get your message seen time and time again will get them to understand what it is that you're trying to do. And you can't just expect people to come to your website to get information time and time again. You need to be where they are. And if they're going to be hanging out on TikTok, start making some videos out there. Give it a shot. See what kind of connection you could have with people to get in front of them. If they're on LinkedIn or Facebook or Instagram or whatever the platforms happen to be, you need to be connecting with them where they are. And it's the same for any business, really. And a lot of nonprofits and charities, they don't think of themselves as a business. They think of themselves as this great, wonderful humanitarian entity that is going to solve the world's problems with regards to whatever issue X happens to be. And it's really great to think that way. And a lot of people go in it with, the best of intentions. But if you're not driving donations, if you're not applying for grant money, if you're not bringing money in, you won't be able to continue to do the work that you initially set out to do. And it's really important to think of it in terms of that. So, where business needs to make sales, your business, your organization needs to bring in money and donations so that you can continue to do the work that you want to do.
And I know you mentioned call to action buttons at one point, but are can you just list like what are the key components of a nonprofit website that you need to have in place so that it's very easy for visitors to make an emotional connection with your cause and then go down the path to make a donation through your website?
When we talk about what it is that you need to do on your actual website, I have a webinar and I talk about this in there. And what we talk about is being able to create an emotional connection. So when somebody's looking at the website, what is it that's going to draw them in? And it's science backed. It's baked into like back to the Neanderthal days, where you need to connect with people and look at their eyes. You need to know whether you need to like it's okay, it's safe, or you need to fight or flight and like leave, right? And we connect with people emotionally by looking at their eyes. Having pictures of people, or if you're focused on animals, having animals looking directly at the camera, it engages us. It engages something in our brain that we don't think about. It's subconscious. So you can create an emotional connection that way. In terms of what are nonprofits and charities doing what I would say wrong or not properly, we've conducted an audit of over 300 nonprofit and charity websites. And what we found is that most websites didn't have an easy to find contact phone number or address. So make sure that that's available. Most of them didn't have a donate or get involved or support us button that's always visible. So we highly recommend having something in the top navigation of your website. So where you've got like your logo and like about us and programs and services and whatever, have something there that talks to the donation piece. And those are really like the big ones. In terms of being able to help get your message out there further, there's some things that nonprofits and charities should think about doing. The first is making sure your website is mobile responsive, so it scales down for people on cell phones versus tablets versus desktops, and that it's easy to still use. The second thing is to make sure the website loads really, really quickly. Both of those are tied into Google's algorithm. And when I talk about search engine optimization and organic search results, I really only talk about Google. It's the biggest player in the space. There's Bing and there's Yahoo, but Google is where most of your traffic is likely going to be coming from with regards to search. So, speaking of search, you want to have analytics on your website so that you can track what people are looking at on your website, how they're using your website, what's their journey through your site, and what are they looking at on your site, and taking a look at, even if it's the top 3 pages of your website, how can you convert people? So in sales, when we talk about convert, like how do we get them to buy something? In nonprofit world, it's not necessarily making a donation, but what's the action that we want them to take? Is it share this article? Is it subscribe to our newsletter? Is it become a volunteer, right? So there's lots of different options that are available for nonprofits in terms of being able to connect and get people to take an action of some kind. If you don't have a call to action, you're not going to be able to get the people that are coming to your site to take an action of some kind. People want it really easy.
Okay, and let's back up a minute. When you say a call to action, what does that actually mean?
A call to action is typically a button on the page that says like support us, subscribe, contact us, visit us, check out our services, whatever whatever it is that you want people to do.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. And so then I recently conducted a website audit for one of my clients. I do marketing consulting for nonprofits, and one thing I noticed is that their homepage was nothing but a list of call to action buttons. So they didn't do a great job of first telling the story of their nonprofit and then including call to action buttons where they make sense in the visitor journey for the website. So how do you work up to a call to action button? Where should that call to action button be on the page?
That's a really great point. There's a point where you hit overwhelm when you're designing a page. And the homepage, a lot of people think, oh, it has to be on the homepage. It has to be on the homepage. Google is only sending, if you have analytics on your site and you're listening to this, take a look. You're likely only getting about 40% of your traffic to your homepage. And that's most likely people that are in your organization in one way or another. So they're familiar with your organization. They're just typing in the URL. So like organizationabc.com or .org or whatever, and they're landing on your homepage and then they're browsing. If they're going into Google or Bing or Yahoo and they're searching, search engines want to get people to the content that they're looking for as fast as possible, right? So they're landing deep in your site. Now, with regards to what that, I guess that's a little bit off topic, but regards to what you asked, you want to position a call to action without overwhelming somebody. So you want to have space around it. Potentially, you'll have some text with it. So it might be a little bit of intro text. Typically, the design trend over the last couple of years has been to have like a big, what we call a hero section at the top of your website, your homepage, sometimes on program or service pages as well, where you're like, we do the best whatever, and then you have a little bit of copy and then a button or two buttons right there, and that's what people would jump out to. If you have a page smattered with buttons, it's going to become really hard to have any kind of visual hierarchy when somebody's looking at the page. And the visual hierarchy is what's going to draw people's eye to certain parts of the page. So you can do that with images, you can do that with lines, you can do that even with just what we call white space in the design world, which is basically just emptiness around other things so that you can draw the eye's attention to something.
And what is a visual hierarchy? I like that idea.
Visual hierarchy can be done a number of ways. So the first thing, and we actually went through an information architecture meeting with one of our clients this morning where we were talking about this exact thing. So we're rethinking their website and we're redesigning it with them. And we've gone through the sitemap process. We've determined, all right, here's the navigation, here's how that's all going to flow. But what do we want on the homepage? And what is the priority for the organization? What is the message that they want to send out? So what we did was we took a look at best practices. We took a look at our internal knowledge and our thoughts as to what they need, and took a look at what we developed through our victory program with them, which is a series of discovery sessions in terms of what their core values are and what they need to do to get to where they want to be. And we aggregated all that information and we said, here's a priority of the homepage, right? So at the top, we want this, in the middle, we want this, over here, we want this, and really creating a story to go through it. So somebody lands on the homepage, 40% of traffic, they land on the homepage, they read a little bit about the organization, they see what their impact is, they get some testimonials about how well the organization helped war survivors or whatever it happens to be. And then here's how they can take some additional action, programs and services, that type of thing, and then lead people through the journey of what it takes to be. So in terms of like what is a visual hierarchy, it's really about how you want the information displayed so that when you're looking at it, you can really easily tell here are the different sections of a page, just as an example.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. So the point is that you're creating, like you said, a story so that when someone lands on the homepage or whatever, that maybe the program page, they are understanding it through bits and pieces instead of getting just like a fire hose worth of information all at once. And then at the bottom, that's when you can really call them to action and say, if you were compelled by this story, here's what you can do to support us or get involved or whatever it is. I love that. And do you have any advice for nonprofit leaders to create website content that causes some sort of emotional response in its visitors?
Absolutely. So the first thing you need to do is think about things from their perspective. What is it that they're looking for? What is something that they're going into Google and searching for that you want to rank for in the search results? That's what's really going to help you drive
Let me
traffic.
stop you right there. Just
Sure.
for people who aren't familiar with search engine optimization terms, what do you mean by rank for? Like when you're talking about like there's a phrase that I want to rank for on Google, what does that mean?
So Google has in their algorithm all kinds of different metrics that they look at in terms of how they order and sort the search results. And Google had what's known in the SEO industry as SERP, SERP. It's search engine results pages. You want to be on the first page. That's where everybody wants to be. Chances are you're on page 15 or 20. And every organization, my agency, we all have the target words that we want to show up for when people search in Google or Bing or Yahoo or whatever search engine. Um, we have those words that we want to show up for. And by ranking higher, it means you're getting closer to the first result, right? So you might be result number 63 for nonprofit podcast, let's say, right, Jenny? And you want to rank higher so that more people will click on your link from the search and come through to your site.
Absolutely. Okay, great. So I figured out I have this keyword that I want to rank for. Let's say it's that I have an animal rescue shelter and I want to rank for the term spay and neuter clinic, right? So then how does a nonprofit get make sure that they rank for that search term and create that emotional response for visitors?
One of the best ways is to, as I was mentioning before, is to think about what it is that somebody would be looking for. So your ideal client, your ideal person that comes into your organization that you help, what is it that drew them to you? Is it their location? Right? Maybe they're looking for animal rescue in Nashville, Tennessee, right? And then, so that's called local SEO. That's when you want to start using the city or regional terminology to help you rank higher in search, because for things like that, people are looking locally. They're not going to likely drive across the country to take their pet to a rescue shelter, or to visit a rescue shelter across the country or in a different country, right? They're looking for something local to them. So that's the first thing. The second thing is take a look and think about what it is that they're going to be looking for. What's the closest spay or neuter facility near me, right? And then that'll use map results, and so making sure that you have your map information on your site. But ultimately, creating traffic and getting more people coming to your website is all about the content that you have on your website. And producing content on your website on a regular, frequent basis is going to help drive up your search results in whatever search engine people are using. So it's important to create content that people are looking for and do that on a regular basis.
Right. So like with a blog or a podcast or something like that.
Exactly. Right. So
Yeah.
you can have articles, and they don't need to be long. They really don't need to be long. A lot of experts, so-called experts out there, are saying it has to be 2,000 words or 1,500 words. What we've been able to do with some of our clients is 500 words, 600 words once a week. And we've been able to get over 510 times their organic traffic over an 8-month period just by doing that. So you can totally do this on your own, even if it's once a month, totally fine, but just stay on a regular schedule with it.
And I know that one of the resources that Wow Digital gives to nonprofits for free is this little ebook that you have about how nonprofit leaders can tweak their website language to drive more donations. Tell me a little bit about that.
So the ebook is all about how you can change your language. There's 3 simple words that you can include in your marketing, whether it's an email, a snail mail, so like physical mail that goes out, annual reports, any messaging you have, especially if it's on your website, to help kind of use the psychological science behind what we've included in the ebook to get people subconsciously to want to donate to your organization. And not just donate, but donate more. So what we're saying is, by implementing the 3 strategies that we have in our ebook, it's not a big book. It's like 10 pages or something. One of those is the cover page. Really quick read. Putting it into practice will help you get an increase in donations.
Very cool. And how can listeners get that free ebook? I know everybody's going to want to download it now.
All they have to do is go to wowdigital.com/ebook.
Awesome. And I'll make sure listeners to put that link in the episode description on whatever podcast app you're listening to right now or wherever you're watching this video. David, thank you so much for your time today. What is one thing that you would tell a nonprofit leader to do today to improve their website?
The thing I always tell everybody is take action. Nothing is going to happen unless you actually do something. It's one thing to sit in meetings, it's one thing to strategize. You want to bring the right players to the table and have all those kind of conversations that need to happen. But ultimately, if you're meeting, you're not doing, and you need to take some kind of action.
Got it. Got it. Well, thank you so much, David. I appreciate your time today.
Thanks so much, Jenny. Everybody, stay safe, stay healthy, and keep being successful.